Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. So today we are going over some improvements to the way that I cut nail nicks into slip joint pocket knives. We'll start off with probably this one because it's really big and easy to see. This is an old timer by Charade, I think. Yep, Charade. This is a newer model, so you know, I mean, they're still good knives, but they don't have quite the classiness of you know, like these really old school Charades. But anyway, this one's got some really big nail nicks, and so they're really easy to see. So the nail nick is that part right there. It's the part where you put your fingernail in to be able to open the blade. So when you're making your own pocket knives, you know, you get to decide how you're going to make everything, and you also get to decide, you know, how you want everything to look, and the sizes and everything, right? So this nail nick to me is kind of large and kind of overdone, and it's a little bit distracting. So, you know, I like the nail nicks that are a little... They're much narrower. These right here, these two pocket knives have got some of the best looking nail nicks I've ever seen. This one is a Charade or Charade and Walden. No, it just says Charade Cut Company. And it has got, and of course we got the sun coming in the window. I was hoping to get this one shot and done before that sun came out too much. So anyway, this one right here has got a really nice, classy looking nail nick. It's real narrow, you know, as far as this way, and it's an appropriate length as far as this way, and it's got, you know, some nice kind of, you know, faded out corners on it, right? This one right here has got much the same thing, only it's, you know, a little bit darker, just a hair taller, and a hair wider also. But these are the nail nicks that I like. So that's kind of what I've been trying to duplicate on the pocket knives that I've been making. So I've got two examples of ones that I made that you can see the nail nicks on them. So you can kind of see what it is this method is going to give you. Well, you know, the screen that I'm looking at is only about that tall, so I'm hoping you guys get a little bit more clarity than what I'm seeing. But anyway, that's the nail nick on this. This is the first ever of the Skagel patterns that I made. It's the first pocket knife I've ever made with elk antler on it, and that's from a bull I shot about 7 or 8 years ago, somewhere around in there. And then this one right here is the first pocket knife I've made with a blade on either end. Just finished it up yesterday. But it's got, I actually cut these nail nicks in with the setup that I'm about to show you. And they're about perfect. I mean, that's really close to, I mean, if I was to say, hey, that's the, you know, what's the perfect nail nick? That's really dang close. So anyway, so now I'll show you how I made these. Let's get these knives out of the way here. Okay, so my last setup, well, so first, with nail nicks, boy, I've had a heck of a time figuring out a nice way to cut them, which, you know, I'm sure an awful lot of other knife makers have also. I tried the 60-degree cutter in the mill or in a drill press. You know, with a vise, just kind of, you know, you make up a way to hold the thing. And honestly, those mill cutters have got to cut the nail nick in before heat treat, which really, it poses some problems, especially as a kind of a beginning pocket knife maker. I've been in and out of pocket knives a couple of times and never really was able to get everything to come together the way that I wanted it to in the finished knife, and be able to do it fast enough to be able to make any kind of you know, decent hourly wage at it. So this year I decided, you know what, 2023 for me is going to be the year of the pocket knife, and I don't care if, you know, I'd had some money saved up so that, you know, it didn't really matter if I sold all that many knives. And so I thought, this year I'm just, I'm going to bury myself in the shop and stay there and not come out until they're coming out the way I want them to. And they are coming out. I mean, I succeeded in 2023. I mean, that's, they're where I want them to be at this part of my knife making career. I can make them now good enough and fast enough to be able to sell them and make a decent hourly wage while I'm doing it, which means that I can practice more and get an awful lot better. But nail nicks is one of the things that you have to figure out. Well, when you cut your nail nicks in before heat treat, there's two really big problems with that. One of them, or that I've had with them, one of them is that you're not really sure where everything's supposed to be. I mean, even if you take apart a factory knife and you make a pattern off of it and you harden it, and then that way whenever you make a knife, you make it off that pattern, and then if you notice after you made 10 of them that, all of them have this thing that isn't quite right, well, then you can find out what it is and then go change that on your master pattern, and then, that fixes that problem, and then from then on, as long as you use that new master pattern, everything is good. Well, to start off with, you don't know where anything's going to end up. So cutting in a nail nick before heat treat, now you're stuck with that nail nick where it's at. So if you screw up on your, your position of your back spring and the tang, and you end up, having to move it too many times, and then you go to grind the back line of your pocket knife, and you grind into that nail nick, well, now you got to throw that blade away and make a new blade and, just over the nail nick. If you cut in your nail nick after heat treat and after you've got the whole knife set up, well, then you can say, okay, well, now everything's working. It's, the three positions in the knife are working great. I mean, everything's where I need it to be. Now this is where I want my nail nick. Now you can cut it in after heat treat. That's a really good way to do it. The second problem is that when I was cutting in nail nicks with 60-degree milling cutter, I was having a hard time. I was getting cracks. Anytime you have sharp corners on a blade and you go into, you heat it up and you quench it, they can be stress risers. And so you can get cracks that start at sharp corners. So knives that go into heat treat with sharp corners are not as good as knives that go into heat treat with no sharp corners. So if you wait until after, and I mean a nail nick should be sharp to be able to catch your thumbnail. So for me, cutting in that nail nick after heat treat really helps reduce those stress risers and unforeseen cracks in the blades. So, a couple of changes I've made to my system, because I posted a video on this before. This was my old grinding disc setup. I suppose I should mention that this whole system is based on these cutoff wheels. Okay, you get these. I actually ended up getting these ones right here at Tractor Supply, but Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those places will have them. And one day when I was trying to figure out a way to cut these, I just so happened I burned up an angle grinder working on something else, and thought, well, heck, that cutoff wheel, that would be about the right thickness to be able to cut the kind of nail nick that I'm looking for. So since I'd burned up that angle grinder, I went ahead and stripped it down and then took the arbor out of it, and it had, this is one of those thread-on wire wheels. So I just ground all the wire wheel off of this and then used that chuck to hold. This is a Diablo, which I think is made by Norton, cutoff wheel. Yeah, I can't see where it says. And I've been using this one and having some pretty good luck with it. But it's, I don't know if it's getting old, like it's getting past, the primary portion where you cut off with it, or what's going on. But when you look at the end when I shape it, and it's kind of coming apart, and it's not really cutting the kind of nail nick that I want it to anymore. So I've been fighting with it. Well, it just so happened that I went to Tractor Supply to get something else, and I noticed that they had these other wheels here. And this one in particular, this is the only one I've tried so far, is the DeWalt. And look at that. That's a way, way cleaner cut on the edge of that wheel. Now this particular wheel says that it's a DeWalt and it's 35 thousandths thick. It looks an awful lot more like about 50 thousandths to me. But it's a 4-inch and it's got a 3/8 inch hole in the middle of it. Well, then I went to Jack's Sporting Goods, and they had this arbor that is for a 3/8 or a 1/4 inch hole in grinding wheels. So this says mandrel set. So now all of a sudden, now you don't have to have a burned up angle grinder to be able to use this system. You grab this Forney part number 72386 mandrel, and then you grab that DeWalt cutoff wheel, and away you go. So let's put this back up in there, tighten it down so I don't forget to do that, because you know that would not be so cool if I went to cut my next nail nick and that was loose. And then this right here is the jig that I use to hold the blades. Now on my next one, I've got down there is a it's kind of like a milling vise for a drill press. Okay, so I mean it does, you know, you tighten up whatever it is in here, and then you've got slide rails, you know, this way and this way. So you clamp the whole thing to your drill press table, and it kind of turns your drill press into a milling machine. The drill press is not meant to be used as a milling machine, but the sun, this time of the year, the sun is about right there, and so it kind of comes in through these windows pretty hard. We'll just swap spots here. So anyway, so a drill is not really meant to be used as a milling machine. Now, a big, heavy, old school drill like this one, it's got larger bearings, and so it can handle a little bit more sideways torque, but they're really meant to go straight down and then straight up, and that's it. But these are very, very light cuts, so this won't hurt the drill press at all. So anyway, so the next one, I'm going to go ahead and clamp up some blades in that milling fixture, and then try it that way. But up until then, I made this, it was just out of some C-channel, and you drill and tap 3 holes. These are for hold downs on the ends, and then this one is a hold down for the tangier blade. You loosen up this screw, you put the blade in there, the tang, and then you put a pin through that hole, and then these holes right here are for I don't know where I put it, but another pin, and that way your edge can rest on that, and then you loosen up this side, swing it over, and clamp down on the point. That's if you're cutting the nail nick on the left side of the blade. If you're cutting the nail nick on the right side of the blade, then you just do it on this side instead of that side. Anyway, so you get that all set up, get your blade in there, you set it down here, you adjust your table to whatever depth you want, and then turn your drill press on, and then just ease it in there. Another thing, so the wheels, like I said, the only one I've tried so far of these ones that have got the 3/8 inch arbor hole is the DeWalt, and it seems like it's pretty much exactly what I'm after. So one day I will try. I did pick up this Dremel set right here. This is a 3.5 inch diameter set, which will make a shorter nail nick for the amount of depth that you can go in, you know, because it's a smaller diameter wheel. If you want like a really wide one with a really shallow depth, what you either have to do is start your cut and then move it back and forth this way, or go to a larger diameter wheel. So anyway, so I'll probably end up trying one of these, and then these ones right here by Porter Cable. This one is, oh no, I grabbed 2 of the same one. These are 1/32 of an inch thick, which should be 0.032 and a half, somewhere around there, because a 1/16 is 0.063 or 0.064. So these should be about the same thickness as this DeWalt one is. So anyway, now I did find out the other day when I went to use this for the first time, I had been using this old diamond sharpening stick to dress that cutting edge on this cutoff wheel. So what you do is you have it up in the drill press, you turn it on, and then you take your diamond stick and then you put it in at whatever angle that you think would look best. And then the diamonds will strip the, shape the edge of the cutting wheel. And you can tell that I've used this quite a bit. I think I've stripped the diamonds out because I don't think it was working all that well. I tried this dressing stick, and it's just like a silicon carbide rock, really. And honestly, it didn't work very well. And then the other day when I was using this on that other pocket knife, I thought, what about a dressing wheel or a dresser for a grinding wheel? This is industrial diamonds for dressing silicon carbide wheels on a regular hard wheel grinder. And come to find out, you have to put this in a little slot here, and then you hold it at whatever angle, and boy, it dresses that thing down and makes it look nice. So, and you could probably thin this out some more. So instead of just holding this at one angle to dress it, I could probably come in here and feather this, and thin just the edge portion of it down to where you get even a thinner nail nick. But the ones that I'm getting, or at least the ones that I cut on this pocket knife yesterday or day before, I mean, they are just, like I said, just dang near perfect. Hopefully the light will catch that just the right way, even though I can't see it, that you guys will get to see that. I mean, that's just about a perfect of a nail nick is what I could ask for. And to be able to do it, after heat treat, so that I get the placement exactly where I want it, after the blade's all finished up. And, so there's way less risk of stress fractures. Look at that. See, I got that to where it's lined up to where you just slap your thumbnail against the top of the scale, slap it, push it in, and there it is. Just could not be happier with this way of making nail nicks. Yeah, so I think that mandrel was like $8 at Jack's. And I want to say that this wheel right here was, I think it was $4 or $5 or so at Tractor Supply. You can probably get both of them on Amazon for cheaper. And then, like I said, this right here was kind of a custom jobber. That's kind of what I had on hand. I am going to try that other vise setup, and see if it works any better. You could also use a drill press vise. One of these bad boys right here. If you went this route, or if you went with the milling vise, I would take some brass shim stock or some of your scraps from your liners, and then make jaw protectors so that this steel doesn't mar up your blade. And then you could clamp it into this, and then you can kind of set it whatever angle you wanted to anyway. And then you wouldn't need the pins on this fixture. And this is nice and heavy enough that as you brought it in, if you do this way, it needs to be real heavy so that you can be real nice and steady and ease that cut in there and put it exactly where you want. But anyway, yeah, so this is about the best, most economical, and just the best all-around method I've found to cut these nail nicks and these slip joints. So again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.